In elementary school, instead of focusing on lessons in English and mathematics, I vividly remember flipping through the pages of the monthly Scholastic magazine. I was captivated by the exotic creatures that lived in various parts of the world. I saw different habitats and climates. I would become so enthralled with the images on the pages, I seemed to fall into them. I felt the heat hovering around me as I stood witness to the great bubbling of Hawaiian volcanoes. I felt my bones chill as the cold of the Arctic tundra seeped into me. I swam the endless oceans with great white sharks. I learned to soar through the sky with bald eagles. I traversed green grounds, hunting for food with my pack of wolves. The world teemed with life. New creatures were being discovered as we dove deeper into those depthless oceans and explored every edge of the earth. We turned over each rock and stone, searching for more of the wonder that our world had to offer. But to my dismay, the zeal of our existence did not last. The earth got hotter, the oceans got dirtier, animals were being hunted to extinction for their beauty and their grandeur. Almost immediately, the fire of life that was burning wildly inside me was doused with a bucket of cold water. I was a child back then. I didn't know what to do. I felt infinitesimal and helpless, and yet I was told by my teachers and my mentors that this was my problem to fix, that my classmates and I were the next change makers. They told us that the older generation didn't know any better. They couldn't have predicted how raping the land of its resources would leave it barren, sickly, and dead, how hunting animals for their hides would dwindle their numbers into devastation. They couldn't have known how dumping trash into the ocean would poison it, along with all of its inhabitants, along with we the people who now eat our daily dose of microplastics in our sushi rolls. An unfamiliar feeling crept over me. The hands that gripped me were void of light, and the claws that sunk in had me bleeding out ambition. I was made aware of the desperate decline of our Earth and its beauty, and it felt like no matter what I did to help the seemingly ever-growing problem, the glass straws I was buying to help save the turtles were making no difference at all. At the ripe age of 17, when the time came for me to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, I tried to search within myself for something I was passionate about, something that I could do that would make a difference. Finding a crowded corner in medicine seemed like a worthy pursuit. The field of science was brimming with questions, research, experiments, and discovery. The passion of others called to me, so although I wasn't quite sure what I was hoping to do with my degree, I hunkered down and began my grueling studies. As time passed, trash continued to pile up at my feet, animals continued to go extinct, and I continued to walk along in the suffocating heat. Over winter break of my junior year at NAU, I finally found enough motivation within me to begin clearing out the mountain of emails that had accumulated in my inbox. My eyes were already losing their focus as I was reading and deleting all the spam and promo messages. But in between the coupons from my campus bookstore and buy one, get one burgers, I came across an email worth reading. The message detailed an aerial experience for students to explore and discuss the environmental impacts of the energy transition occurring along the Colorado Plateau. EcoFlight was the name of the nonprofit who was offering this multi-day collegiate program. The Flight Across America experience was open to undergraduate and graduate students who were passionate about the environment, sustainability, conservation, and storytelling. Along the way, students would meet and fly with regional experts, community leaders, scientists, and press to learn more about the landscapes of the Colorado Plateau, the complexities of extraction, and renewable energy in the West. This immediately piqued my interest. Studying biomedical science, my classes are focused on the body and all the meticulous processes that allow us the extraordinary experience of being human. And learning about this has truly become a passion of mine, but the delicate and beautiful intricacy of nature has still called to me as well. I've come to learn that it is the macroscopic view of the human body. I look around now and I see the branches of trees taking up oxygen like the expansion of our lungs. I feel the heartbeat of the earth as its molten core churns with life. I see the connectedness of it all. So I jumped at the opportunity to get outside of my comfort zone and learn a little bit more about what I love in a new light. I got to work feverishly writing my responses to the essay prompts on the application, and 4 months later, I found myself taking a week off of school, packing a lightweight bag, and walking very hesitantly towards a tiny 6-seater Cessna 210 aircraft at the Flagstaff Airport. Myself and 7 other students joined from various scholarly backgrounds, native tribes, and universities to be crammed in the back of 3 small planes, like very small. As soon as my tiny aircraft rumbled to life, I felt my nerves bouncing around under my skin in anticipation. And luckily, before my nerves turned to nausea, our planes had climbed 8,000 feet in the sky, flying above my university and the trademark ponderosa pines of Flagstaff. My face was pressed against the window and glued to the growing world beneath me. The vents at the roof of the aircraft let in a cold wind and the smell of the forest below. We wrapped around the sacred San Francisco peaks, and as soon as we came around the other side of Snow Bowl, that's when the narration began. Inside all of our headsets, our pilot's voice came out in crisp, quiet syllables to give us a detailed description of coal mining that has left parts of northern Arizona burnt black and barren of trees. I had lived here my whole life, and I had never known that my state was facing this sort of environmental devastation. Over the course of the next 3 days, our tiny planes hauled us across the breathtaking landscape of the Colorado Plateau that stretched far and wide in every direction. We flew over uranium mines, coal plants, solar fields, and even a hydroelectric dam in the middle of the dried-up desert. The 8 of us stood witness to landscape shaped by time and tension, and I couldn't help but feel amazed by the connectedness of it all once more. The dry, arid expanse of the desert beneath me was a reflection of the delicate design within a human. The uranium mines were like poison circulating our blood, the coal plants were like oxygen choking from our lungs, and the dam in the desert was like a vein cut and draining of our life source. The difference is the environment doesn't speak with words like us. It can't advocate for its protection or respect. It can't ask for help. But its pleas are apparent in the disrupted sediment, hazardous waters, and smoggy skies. When we feel ill, we share our symptoms and await the best solution. But when our earth cries out for support, it falls on listless ears. Along the way, we met with community leaders and experts in their respective fields of science and environment. They shared the crises, the environmental policies they were fighting both for and against. I was grateful for our collaboration with the passionate minds we met, the stories we shared, and the purpose we carried together. But again, that buzz of inspiration and hope I felt flooding my system fizzled out. It faded after the aerial experience was over, and that feeling of helplessness crept back in. It was so easy to see the problem and visualize solutions when I was soaring above the raw landscape, but how could I engage others who didn't share the same experience or perspective? The return to my coursework felt abrupt. My mind was quickly distracted from contemplating the great consequences of our collective influence, and instead, my exams demanded that I focus on memorizing the various molecular formulas for chemical compounds and remembering whether cholera was a consequence of a virus or a bacteria. But the aerial experience in my courses never allowed me the sweet bliss of ignorance or the simple indifference of disregard. No, my classes remind me that although the earth and the people that inhabit it seem distinctly separate, we are deeply intertwined. The desperation our earth faces is unequivocally integrated in our health. As graduation looms closer, the world stretches wide before me, not just with possibility, but with responsibility. Studying biomedical science has proved the power and potential of saving lives, but it has also illuminated a hidden trail of plastics and pollutants that pile up in its wake. Between the numerous layers of every gloved hand and sterile instrument, the crinkle of single-use packaging torn open and tossed aside, this protection is necessary. This protection is life-saving. And still, it's accumulating somewhere far beyond the pristine white hospital walls and the shine of operating lights. It's buried silently under the soil or dumped discreetly into the unsuspecting ocean. And so it serves a new purpose in the detriment of our health rather than in the treatment of it. My heart hurts for the little girl whose eyes grew wide and glimmered in awe of the images contained in the Scholastic magazine. Now exposed to the reality that even in a career dedicated to saving lives, we are harming the earth that sustains us. Environmental protection is a big, nasty, daunting problem, and it's only one of the many we're facing today. Hearing about it may even have you feeling as I do, intimidated or overwhelmed. I can almost see your eyes glazing over and hear your heavy sighs. It's not the first time this problem has been brought to your attention. It's one that bleeds into every aspect of our lives, our society, our economy, our futures. But instead of being paralyzed by the weight of the world and its woes, I refuse to ignore the environmental impact of the medical field I'm about to step into. Instead, I'm inspired to build a career where scientific rigor meets environmental stewardship, where innovation in healthcare includes sustainability as a core principle rather than an afterthought, where we reduce excess where we can, where waste is regarded not as an inevitability, but as a symptom waiting to be treated. Healing patients without harming the planet is not just an ideal, it is a future of compassionate medicine. It's the recognition that clean air, safe water, and stable climates are not luxuries, they are prerequisites for health. Maybe my teachers were right. not because my generation will magically undo every mistake that came before us, but because we were raised on the images of wonder and warning. We have seen the consequences of others' actions and inactions unfold around us, and we are unwilling to look away.